Happy birthday to our guy, RJ Barrett. He turns 22 years old today. He's the face of the franchise, and he continues to get better and better. The fact is he's only 22. Sometimes we forget about that as Knicks fans, but let's wish him a happy birthday. Type number 9, his jersey number, or you can type HBD, happy birthday. Let's just get the comment section going and the good vibes rolling. Happy birthday to RJ Barrett. What's going on, guys? You're watching New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. And in today's show, we got some free agency rumors to discuss. Should the Knicks go out and sign Kevon Looney, an NBA free agency? He's an unrestricted free agent, and he's played really good in the finals. But first, let's start with our guy, Mitchell Robinson. Let's talk about him and the rumors that are starting to circle him as we inch closer and closer to NBA free agency. Robinson, as we know, will be an unrestricted free agent this offseason after being a second-round pick just a couple of years ago. And the latest report is the Chicago Bulls view him as a top free agent target. They've started to do research on him. We've got some quotes to show you about that from Mark Berman. But the biggest and most alarming thing to me is that the Knicks and Robinson were nowhere close on an extension at the All-Star break this past season. The Knicks at that time could only offer him a 4-year, $55 million extension, but then in the offseason and free agency, they can offer him whatever he wants. I have beef with that. It's a dumb NBA rule. Why can I not give as much money as I want to Mitchell Robinson in the regular season? But then during free agency, I can. So no, right now, the Knicks and Robinson, they were nowhere close. The Knicks, they wanted to offer him that 4-year, $55 million deal. And Robinson said, nah, no way. I want to get the bag in NBA free agency. And deservedly so. He's been solid through the first 4 years of his NBA career. But the thing is, he was drafted in the second round of the NBA draft. He's been playing on the league minimum salary for 4 years. So he wants to cash in. And he's seeing other centers across the NBA get a lot of money. I don't think Robinson is in this pay grade where Rudy Gobert in the 2021 season made $35 million, or Joel Embiid made $31 million, or Miles Turner made $18 million. Jared Allen got that 5-year, $20 million deal per year, 5 years, $100 in total last offseason. And I think Mitchell Robinson is looking at that and says, I want to get the bag too. But I think he falls more so in this pay grade of $14 million per year like Jonas Valanciunas, or $13 million per year like Brook Lopez. Rashawn Holmes, a solid NBA center, a starter in this league. He signed for $10 million this past offseason. I think Robinson's looking to get around $13 to $15 million per year on a 4-year deal. And that's understandable. You got to go get your cheddar. And if you see Nerlens Noel, a teammate of yours that you think you're way better than, making almost $9 million per year, if I'm Robinson or the 6th NBA agent that Robinson has hired, I'm going to want a lot of money too. Mark Berman put out this report a couple days ago about Robinson and some free agency rumblings and said, the Post has learned the Bulls are continuing to do the research on Robinson ahead of the July 1st free agency period. The Bulls could be the main competitors for Robinson if the Knicks don't lock him up to a contract extension on June 30th. The Bulls want to enhance their interior defense and believe Robinson could be a good fit slotted alongside offensive center Nikola Vucevic. When you look at what Robinson has done in his 4-year NBA career, he's gotten better every single year. His rookie year, where he played 66 games and 20 minutes per night, he averaged 7, 6, 2.5 blocks. He's always going to be an efficient shooter around the rim because that's all he does. He finishes around the rims, putbacks, dunks, alley-oops, easy rim running, big type of stuff. But he stopped being so much of a foul trouble type of guy. Those first couple of seasons, we saw him foul out a whole lot, chasing every single block. But this year, where he averaged 8.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, 1.8 blocks per game, and shot 76% from the field, this was his best season in the NBA. But my biggest gripe is, can you win in the NBA, in the playoffs, where a center on your team makes a lot of money and he gives you nothing on the offensive end besides putbacks, dunks, and alley-oops? We're going to continue to break down Mitchell Robinson, and we'll talk about Kevon Looney later in the show, but I want to get you guys involved early on in today's video. Do you want the Knicks to re-sign Mitchell Robinson? And when you answer this question, of course we want Robinson back. He's a homegrown talent, he's young, and he's a good player. But we have to factor in the team building going forward and how much money he's going to command in free agency. So when you answer this question, think about all that kind of stuff. Type S for sign, or you can go down and type P for pass. And if you haven't yet, or this is your first time watching a New York Knicks Now video by Chat Sports, make sure you go down right now and hit that big red button because we're trying to catch another channel here at Chat Sports in Celtics Today. We're about 2.3 thousand subscribers down, but look, they're about to lose the NBA Finals, and we're going to cover the hell out of the Knicks offseason here. We're going to start doing daily videos. Yes, videos every single day around the latest news and rumors. We're going to cover the NBA draft better than anybody, and I promised you our free agency coverage is going to be on fire. So lock us in. Help us catch Celtics Today. I hate the Celtics. You hate the Celtics. F Boston. Go down right now and hit that big red button. Also, on our main Chat Sports channel, the mothership here, youtube.com/chatsportstv, where we have over 300,000 subscribers, we're going to be going live for the NBA draft next Thursday, June 23rd. So join us then as we break down every single pick. And once the picks are out there on Twitter, we get them to you guys as soon as possible. So join us. Let's party. Have fun. Subscribe over there, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Story number 2 on today's show. Let's take a look at the Knicks' offseason outlook and how they're going to fare in free agency and how much cap space they have. Right now, the Knicks are about $5.5 million over the salary cap and $26.5 million below the luxury tax. So for that, they qualify to have the non-taxpayer mid-level exception and the biannual exception. The mid-level exception is $10.3 million, and the biannual exception is $4 million. So you can still get 2 really good players in free agency, even though the Knicks don't have a lot of cap space. And they also own the number 11 pick in the NBA draft. So with the mid-level exception of $10.3 million, let's talk about some Mitchell Robinson replacements. There's going to be some centers in free agency. If Mitchell Robinson decides to sign with the Chicago Bulls or the Detroit Pistons, a team that we know were interested in him at the NBA trade deadline, you would have known that if you were subscribed to the channel. But first, let's look at some internal options. Because look, we do have some young players on this roster that I do like that could play in his spot. I like Nerlens Noel. I like what he brings to the defensive side of the court. He's very twitchy. He's a good shot blocker. He can switch on pick and rolls and stay in front of ball handlers. But the thing is, he hasn't been that healthy. Last year, he missed a lot of time due to injuries. And, you can't really count on unreliable players. The best ability is availability, and Nerlens Noel really hasn't been that available throughout his NBA career. I love Taj Gibson for what Taj Gibson is. I think Tom Thibodeau asks way too much of him, especially considering the fact that he's going to be 36 years old this year. You can't continue to build around Taj Gibson. I like Jericho Sims. He's 23 years old. He showed flashes, but is he ready to be a starting center in the NBA? I think that's a question that he still has to answer. I think he has all the upside in the world, but I'm not ready to put him as the starting center of this team. So what about going out and signing Kevon Looney in NBA free agency? Looney is still just 26 years old and will be an unrestricted free agent in the NBA free agency cycle. And look, the Golden State Warriors, you can't pay everybody. You got to go out and you got to pay Jordan Poole. You got to go out and give Andrew Wiggins a contract extension. Kevon Looney may be the guy that they have to sacrifice and cut bait with and not be able to re-sign. I think Looney's going to look to sign somewhere close to that mid-level exception of about $10 million per year. If you've been watching the playoffs and watching the finals, you know that Looney has shown that he's one of the best defensive centers in the NBA. What he's able to do on that side of the court is extremely impressive and would fit right in with the Tom Thibodeau defense. He can switch on all pick and rolls. He's arguably, in my opinion, the best or a top 5 defensive big when it comes to being a perimeter defender. He can stay in front of ball handlers. We've seen it with Jason Tatum, with Jaylen Brown, with Marcus Smart. He's done that. But would he command the full mid-level exception? I'm not sure about that. But when you look at the type of player that Kevon Looney is, he's not going to stuff the stat sheet. Only played 21 minutes per game this past year, averaged 6 points, 7 rebounds, a half a block, and shot 57%. But when Looney played more than 20 minutes per game, he averaged 7+ points per game. And he also averaged 9 rebounds per game. In 47 games this year, he's played more than 20 minutes. But he also played 35 games this year where he played less than 20 minutes per game. So I feel like his stats on screen right now don't tell the full story. And also, Looney does the things on the basketball court that don't show up in the box score. He's one of the best pick setters in the NBA. Watching Mitchell Robinson set picks and pick and rolls and pick and pop situation is maddening because he slips it every time, and it seems like he's afraid to make contact. Not Kevon Looney. He'll throw a shoulder into you. Maybe sometimes it's a moving screen. But if he's wearing a Knicks jersey, I'd never say that. I would love that. The way he's able to set screens, be active on the offensive side of the ball. He's a solid rebounder. He's not as an efficient of a guy around the rim like Mitchell Robinson, but what he can bring to this defensive team, I feel like would be more important than Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson is a better rim protector, no doubt. But Looney is the modern day big, 6'9", 6'10", that can guard on the perimeter and also hold his own in the paint. So I'll ask you guys this question, and I want you to factor in salary, age, everything, how much you're going to have to pay these guys. Let me know. Type Mitchell Robinson if you want Mitchell Robinson to be the center of the Knicks next year, or even Kevon Looney is the better guy, the cheaper option, and makes more sense, and you get more bang for your buck. Like I do, you can go down and type KL for Kevon Looney. Give me Kevon Looney for the mid-level exception, overpaying Mitchell Robinson 5 years and $80 million. That's the type of deal he's going to be looking for. He saw Jared Allen sign 5 years for $100 million. He's been playing on the minimum contract in the NBA since he entered the league 4 years ago. So he's going to be looking to cash out and get as much money as he can. He's on his sixth agent in the NBA. He wants to secure the bag. And the way I view building teams in the NBA in 2022, you don't cash out on centers that only contribute on the defensive side of the court. I love Mitchell Robinson. When the Knicks drafted him, I knew he was going to be a stud. I watched the guy when he was coming out of high school and didn't go to college. He's athletic, he's 7'1", and he protects the rim. But he's also been injury prone throughout his career. And him, at 5 years, $80 million, over Kevon Looney at maybe 4 years for $40 million, 4 years, $35 million, I just think the bang for your buck is better for going after Kevon Looney. I can be wrong, and let me know if I'm wrong in the comment section. I appreciate all your takes down there. And let's talk more about this in the comment section, because I really want to listen to all Knicks fans. I live in Dallas. I don't get to chop it up with Knicks fans unless I'm talking about them on a video. So go down right now. Let me know how you feel about my take on this video. And if you haven't yet, give me a follow on Twitter. And I want to do this for everybody. If you made it this far in the show, you're a real one. So tweet me a picture on Twitter of you rocking some Knicks gear. I want to see what more Knicks fans rocking Knicks gear on Twitter. So send me a picture at @MarshallGreen_, and I'll make sure to feature every single one of those pictures on the next New York Knicks Now.